Hey everyone, welcome back to the Living in Maryland channel. Today we are discussing the weather here in the state of Maryland and the 4 things that you need to know about the weather before you make your move here so you and your family can know exactly what you're walking into and if it's something that you can handle. And we're getting started right now. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Living in Maryland channel where we discuss all things living here in the great state of Maryland. So if that's the kind of information you are looking for, then you are definitely in the right spot. And if you are considering making a move here to Maryland, if you're wondering whether purchasing a home here in the area is the right decision for you and your family, this is something that we absolutely love helping people out with their moves, with their transitions here to the state of Maryland, whether you're already living here in Maryland or whether you're coming from from another state or even from outside of the country. We absolutely love helping out in any way possible. So however you feel comfortable reaching out, whether that's by phone, text, or email, days, nights, and weekends, we've got your back when moving here to the great state of Maryland. All right, the first thing I want to talk about is the winters here in Maryland, what you can expect and how bad is it? So I get this question a lot, and the way that I find myself answering it for a lot of people is that it could be a lot worse. So I met my wife going to school in Ohio. It was definitely worse there. I've spent some time in the Northeast and kind of the more northern part of the United States, and we don't have it too bad here in Maryland. So it's fairly mild. The thing that I love about Maryland is that you get all 4 seasons. That was something that I didn't really grow up with. So naturally that's going to include winter and it, the first snowfall or two, the first freeze or two is always kind of exciting to kind of you kind of get excited for that new change, the new season coming, and then it kind of takes its toll and gets a little old, I'm sure, just like it is for everyone. So, but the cool thing is that you do get all 4 seasons here. You do get, some snow. One of the things that is, a guarantee here in Maryland is that we're going to have that winter cold. So especially this last year, so winter of 2021, 2022, it was a pretty cold winter. One of our coldest ones here in the last 5 years, I'd say. And we had several nights where it's dropping into the teens, a good handful of nights where you have lows of single digits, 8 or 9 degrees. So that's something you can expect, but that's not necessarily the norm. So I'd say, your average winter night is dropping into the, mid to high 20s. And then your average high for a winter day, January, February, March is going to, in the high 30s, somewhere in the 40s. So even when you get some snow, I mean, what I tell people, and in my experience being here for 7 years, is that snow does not typically stick around very long because a lot of your days are just going to warm up, and it's just not gonna do much. And the counties here do a very good job. They're very proactive of getting salt on the road, so it's not slowing anything down in regards to work or the economy or anything like that. If anything, I run into a lot of parents who sometimes get a little frustrated because the schools tend to be very conservative with canceling school or having the delays. So it can put parents in a little bit of a pickle because jobs don't really care as much. They expect you to be there, and we don't see a lot of jobs, canceling or doing delays like the school. So sometimes that's something that can catch people off guard. So that's something you want to be prepared for, having kind of a backup plan with the kiddos. And if you get those delays, and the schools are going to be very conservative with that. And a lot of times, more times than not, that's going to be ice related because we just, we get some snow, but a lot of times we're seeing that more due to ice. So you get a little bit of rain coming down or frozen rain coming down during the night. And then the temperature kind of hovers around 32 into that morning, early to mid morning. And that's going to, cause the schools to kind of delay that. They don't want to mess with ice with the kids and everything like that. So something you can expect. The bigger variable is not going to be the temperature or the cold weather. We're definitely going to get that every year, but it's the snow. So the first winter that I was here in 2015, we got, it was like a 3.5 footer. And we haven't had one bad since, that bad since. So it's something that can come at any time, but it's definitely not something that you see every year. So your typical winter here, we're getting a good handful of 2 to 6 inches, in regards to snow, and that's kind of about it. So it can be fairly mild. I know 2 winters ago, we really only got one, 4-incher or so, and that was about it. So, it can kind of vary. It can kind of be all over the map, but in regards to winter, that's what you can expect. All right, number 2 that I want to talk about is going to be spring and fall, and these are just my favorite times of the year, especially from With me coming from Southern California, we really didn't get to experience those a whole lot. So it just kind of seemed to be more, neutral and the same year round. So this is something that I really enjoy to get out. It's the time that we spend the most time outdoors, and you see, a lot of, people being active. You see a lot of people out walking around. We're so lucky here in Maryland to have so many state parks and so many cool areas to get out and hike and, trails and all these sorts of things to get out, and be active. So this is something that we definitely take advantage of. We're lucky enough to live next to Patapsco State Park, which kind of separates Carroll County from Howard County, and then Baltimore County from Howard County. So it's a massive state park. You've got Patuxent State Park to the south, which separates Howard County and Frederick County from Montgomery County. So there's just, those are just a couple examples, but there's a ton of opportunity for that. So that's when you're going to see the most people out and active, and it's just a great time of year. You're going to have a lot of 50, 60, low 70-degree days, and it's just my favorite. So, and another cool thing, we're fortunate enough to kind of live, right behind some woods and stuff. So the lightning bugs, this is something that to me, again, my wife gets really annoyed because I'm like, I find so many little things fascinating that she grew up with, like, oh my gosh, there's another deer, and she's like, get over it. But to me, it's so cool. But the lightning bugs around now, and I thought about this because it's, it's late June right now, and it's definitely lightning bug season. So every night, they come out, and I walk in the backyard, and they're just like, the woods are just like, just all over. It's like kind of in a movie. Everything's sparkling, and it's like so cool. So seeing the lightning bugs is definitely one of my favorite parts of spring and early summer. All right, number 3 is going to be expecting rain year round, and this was something that was a little bit of a bummer for me, just because we were in Southern California. We got some rain in the winter, but even then it wasn't all that much, and I guess that's why they're dealing with droughts, seems like all the time. But anyway, so it's a lot different here. Rain year round. You get a lot of those summer rainstorms, and it's just something that comes with the territory. So one of the cooler things is that you don't have to mow, or not. You definitely have to mow your lawn. You don't have to water your lawn. There's no irrigation systems really that you'll find. That's very common here. Occasionally some homes have them, but it's pretty rare. So expecting that and just kind of having that expectation coming into it is helpful, because for me it was a little bit of a bummer. I mean, just more cloudy days, more rain, and some, so that seasonal defective aspect and disorder was definitely present for me here for a little while. So, and it's something that really doesn't go away, but it's something that I'm just more used to now. But that's something that you definitely want to expect coming into it, depending on where you're coming from. If you're used to, not as much of that, that's something that might catch you off guard, and something you want to be expecting. Now, in regards to rain, I did want to mention flooding. So there's not a ton of flooding within Central Maryland, but there are a few specific areas that do tend to deal with it a little more than others. So if you're looking in parts of Howard County, you'll hear Ellicott City. Now, it's not all of Ellicott City is flood prone. It's just the historic, district of Ellicott City. It is in kind of a little valley. So that's had some, pretty devastating floods over the last several years. And then you've had, some flooding in parts of Frederick and other parts of Central Maryland. But for the most part, there's really not a ton of flooding, but you will see some of that pop up because we do get some pretty heavy rains and some flash floods and stuff like that. So it will be something that you see sporadically, but it's not something that's super consistent here in the area. All right, and then the next thing that you want to be prepared for when it comes to rain is always having a backup plan for your gatherings or your events. So this was something that was a little bit of a bummer for me, because it was something growing up that we didn't really, you just don't know what you don't know. So when we planned a party or had anything outdoors, it was very, very rare to get, rained out. So I guess we were pretty lucky when it comes to that. But here you definitely want to have a backup plan to either move things, if you're having a party or hosting anything outdoors, to either move that in, or you're going to see like, rain dates or rain rescheduling dates and stuff like that. Because if you're planning a party or an event weeks or even a month or two out, it's something that, you just never know here. So, you can always have rain at any point in time throughout the year. So that was something that was a little bit of a bummer, but just something that you got to work with out here. So something to kind of keep an eye out for as well. All right, and number 4, let's talk summer in Maryland. So what can you expect? So your typical temperatures from, I'd say mid-June all the way through the end of September is going to be, pretty heavy summertime. So that's kind of the timeline that you can expect. And your typical temperatures are going to be anywhere from mid 80s into the mid 90s. I mean, I'd say the hottest that I can remember it getting here is probably 98, 99, and that's pretty rare. So a lot of your summer days are going to be in that 85 to 95 degree range. And it definitely, with the humidity, because there's definitely some of that moisture in the air, it's tough to deal with sometimes, especially on those hotter days. So making sure you've got good AC in the car and is something that you definitely want. And when it comes to summer here. Now, I will say as well, the bugs are pretty rough in the summer, especially mosquitoes. So it's pretty hard for me to get my wife outside on the warm summer days. The bugs just eat her up. Luckily, we've got a screen-in porch at the house we're in now, so that's something where we can at least enjoy, and she'll come outside because she won't get absolutely eaten up. So, but that's something that you'll see a lot more about here, because the bugs are definitely very active, and in the summertime, it can be pretty rough when it comes to mosquitoes. So that's something that you definitely want to be prepared for. And then also in summer, as I mentioned, you're going to see some of these summer storms come through, and it's pretty common. I mean, we're going to see a few of those probably at least every week or two when it comes to summertime. And it's something that's crazy to me, because the clouds just seem to move so fast out here. I don't know, where I grew up on the West Coast, it just seemed like if it was a rainy day, it was just cloudy all day. But out here, you could have a rainstorm in the afternoon, and then by dinner time, it's all clear and sunny. So it's just kind of so weird. So they kind of come and go. You never know when they're gonna hit. And it's always when we're looking at the weekend, we're kind of looking to see, all right, what's the weather gonna be like? And if it's a week out, maybe it's Monday, and we're looking at what Saturday and Sunday are looking like, and it's like, oh, it's rainy, thunderstorms. It's like, okay, that's not a big deal. We got 4 days for that to adjust, because you can never really count on it until really the day before or the morning of, because it just seems like there's so much change, and who knows if it's going to actually hit your area. So just kind of pay attention to the weather, and know that that's something that's definitely going to be present here during the summer. So kind of be prepared for that rain, and hopefully it's not too bad. All right, everyone, thanks so much for watching. I hope you learned something new. If you ever need anything at all, please feel free to reach out or comment below, and we'll see you at the next video.